What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite possessions, my iPad Pro, and specifically if it's worth buying for high school students. I'll go over some pros and cons of the iPad, and at the end of the video I'll give some final thoughts on whether it's really worth buying for students in high school or even students in college. So first I'll go over the pros. I bought my iPad in September of 2019. I had been saving up some money all summer, and I had to choose between a laptop or the iPad. Obviously, I chose the iPad, and I am definitely happy with my decision. So the first thing I'd like to say is it really just works. I see a lot of products these days that come out and they're buggy or something doesn't work or they have some kind of really steep learning curve, but the iPad was totally different. After I got it, I kind of already knew what I was doing because I've used iPhones in the past. I haven't had any problems with bugs or it crashing or anything. It has really worked well ever since I bought it. One thing I think that really isn't talked about iPads is the gestures. Using the gestures with the new iPhones and especially the iPad makes the whole experience feel really modern and kind of futuristic. So even though it's not something you think about a lot, I think it actually adds a lot to the experience. I have to say, the experience really improved with the iPadOS iOS 13 update. One thing that really bothered me was before the update, whenever I was browsing, I had to go to the side and click on the use desktop version. But with the update, Safari uses desktop level browsing automatically, which is a huge help. While I'm talking about the pros, I have to mention the Apple Pencil. A big reason I got the iPad was to have my drawing tablet and computer all in one device, and it has done that phenomenally. The Apple Pencil is the best digital drawing experience I've had so far, and is probably my favorite feature of the iPad. The last thing I want to mention is some of my favorite apps. I'll put a bunch of apps up that I use every day, but some of my favorites are Procreate, Lightroom, and Reminders. Okay, so let's talk about some cons, some things that aren't so good about the iPad. Typing on the iPad is less than perfect. I think what they did with typing on the iPad is just about as good as it can be. It uses the gestures effectively, and it has all the features that an iPhone has. But even with this, you lose a lot of screen space when you're typing, or you have to try to type with one hand in a corner. It just doesn't work well. A quick fix for this is using a Bluetooth keyboard. I'm using an old Apple keyboard right now, but I plan on getting the new Magic keyboard in the next couple weeks. Much like the MacBook, the iPad uses USB-C, but the problem with that is it doesn't have anything else. Right now I'm using a hyperdrive all-in-one dongle. It's great for my purposes, but just know you're going to have to pay for that. Travel with the iPad is kind of scary. It's advertised as something you can just take anywhere and kind of beat up however you want, but taking this thin thing in a backpack is kind of scary. When I put it in a laptop sleeve in a backpack, I'm always afraid it's going to bend or get scratched by something. And the Apple Pencil does not stay on your iPad in a case. It will fall off, so put it somewhere else. And the last problem I have with the iPad is it doesn't run Apple's big programs like Logic or Final Cut Pro. And a lot of app producers don't bring their full-level apps to the iPad. This has been getting better lately with things like Adobe bringing Photoshop to the iPad, and I hope in the future more companies will bring their full-level apps to the iPad because it has a lot of potential, it has a lot of computer power that isn't fully used right now. So here are my final thoughts. I definitely prefer the iPad to a regular computer. I think the experience is a lot more fun, and for my purposes, like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to use it as a drawing tablet and as a laptop replacement. I think it's done that very well. That said, it can't run all the pro-level apps a laptop can, and the experience is very different. The iPad Pro will only get better from here. As more people start using it, more producers will be creating more apps for it, and I think it'll become a viable laptop replacement in the near future. I would recommend the iPad Pro to anyone that likes doing creative things, and if you're deciding between the iPad or a laptop, I would definitely recommend the iPad. that's all I have to say about the iPad. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.